63.02 billion ringgit worth of investments secured in US trade mission. Possibility of subsidized cooking oil being sold as used oil. Salam Malaysia Madani, I'm Jessica Lee and you're watching Malaysia Tonight. Now, Malaysia has secured a total of 63.02 billion ringgit in proposed investments in the United States, mainly from technology giants. Now, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said out of the total, 8.33 billion ringgit investments were from the Trade and Investment Mission to the US, organised before the start of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, or APEC. Now, the remaining investments, meanwhile, were from the various one-on-one meetings held by Datuk Seri Anwar in San Francisco.
Dan kalau kita campur keduanya, termasuk yang terakhir yang diselaraskan, itu sudah 63 bilion ringgit. Jadi saya lihat keupayaan orang memberi keyakinan kepada Malaysia itu memang jelas. Ya. Dia tidak terlalu sukar. Dia cuma nak minta pertemuan dan minta penjelasan tentang dasar dan bila boleh dipercepatkan proses kelulusan.
Speaking to the Malaysian media at the end of his official visit to the United States, the Prime Minister said the investments from the trade mission are from Abbott Laboratories, Mondelez International, Amstead Rail, Hematogenics, Perkin-Elmer, Ford Motor Company, Boeing, Amazon Web Services, Innovix and Lam Research. The remaining investments, he said, have been secured from one-on-one meetings with technology giants such as Google, Innovix Corporation, Microsoft, TikTok, as well as TPG. He added that Malaysia is also actively courting electric vehicle players, including Tesla. Now, it is imperative that the principles of justice and human rights be upheld when handling global issues, including trade and economic growth. Therefore, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said the United States should be fair and should not choose to abstain when it comes to discussions on the conflict in Gaza. Datuk Seri Anwar also emphasised the need for all countries to press for a ceasefire in Gaza so that there would be no further loss of civilian lives, especially infants. He said this at the APEC Economic Leaders Meeting retreat, which was chaired by US President Joe Biden and attended by representatives from all the other 20 APEC economies. At the meeting, Datuk Seri Anwar, who is also Finance Minister, said that as a trading nation, Malaysia needs to have good trade ties with major powers, including the United States and China. As such, the Prime Minister said he welcomed the bilateral meeting that was held between the presidents of the United States and China. On Wednesday, Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping met on the sidelines of the APEC meeting in San Francisco. The Ministry of Health has confirmed that several cases of tuberculosis have been detected in Cheras, Kuala Lumpur. However, Minister Dr. Zaliha Mustafa said the disease in the country is still under control. Elaborating further, Dr. Zaliha said tuberculosis is always present in the country, but the public is advised not to panic because the Public Health Division of the Ministry consistently monitors the development of the disease.
Sebenarnya dia bukanlah berlaku wabak ya. Kes-kes ini memang kita sentiasa ada on tuberculosis ini. Cumanya kita lihat dia punya taburan itu, taburan kepada penyakit tuberculosis itu di Lembah Kelang yang seperti yang sebut tadilah. Tapi apapun bahagian KA ataupun public health tengah melihat tentang isu ini dan kita tak naklah maksudnya perkara yang tidak benar itu disebar-sebarkan sebab kita tak nak supaya nanti public jadi panik ya.
Speaking after officiating the national level World Antimicrobial Resistance Awareness Week today, she encouraged patients to seek treatment if there are any signs of the disease, especially a persistent cough. Among the main symptoms of the disease are persistent cough lasting more than 2 weeks, fever, night sweats, lack of appetite, weight loss, and coughing up blood. She added the public can obtain information on the number of tuberculosis cases in their area through the MySejahtera application. The Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development plans to make it mandatory for kindergartens and childcare centres staff taking care of children with special needs to be trained in a basic course of caring for disabled children. Its Minister, Datuk Seri Nancy Shukri, said to this end, the National Special Education Seminar 2023 will be expanded nationwide to prepare all kindergartens and childcare centres to handle children with special needs.
Kalau untuk pelatih memang ada khusus asas, tapi kita nak supayanya jangan ada ketinggalan, because kalau you tengok kes-kes abuse kita bila dah dilaporkan baru kita tahu ada dia punya pengasuh tu tidak ada tiada latihan.
She said this at a press conference after launching the seminar in Santubong today. Datuk Seri Nancy said of the 107,020 children with special needs under the Ministry of Education as of 31st of January this year, only 7,582 are registered with the Social Welfare Department, which makes it a challenge for the ministry to take early intervention before they start schooling. She added that so far the Social Welfare Department has established 11 kindergartens for children with special needs and plans to increase the number next year. Now, earlier, the chairman of the National Association of Early Childhood Care and Education of Malaysia, Shamsina Cik Sharif, said the association will continue working with the government, industry players and the community to overcome issues and challenges in early childhood education and daycare faced by Malaysians. The Kemaman parliamentary by-election will see a straight fight between Barisan Nasional and PAS. Now, BN has fielded former Chief of Defence Forces, General Retired Tan Sri Raja Muhammad Afandi Raja Muhammad Noor as its candidate, while PAS in defending the parliamentary seat is represented by Terengganu Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Samsuri Mokhtar. The candidates were announced by Kemaman by-election returning officer Ahmad Farhan Abdul Wahab after the nomination process at Dewan Berlian Utama Kemaman Municipal Council ended at 10 a.m. today.
Saya telah menyemak kertas-kertas penamaan dan setelah selesai disemak, saya berpuas hati memutuskan tiada yang ditolak kertas penamaannya. Dengan ini, saya mengumumkan calon-calon yang disahkan bertanding dalam bahagian pilihan raya Parlimen P040 Kemaman adalah seperti yang berikut. Pertama, General Bersara Tan Sri Muhammad Afandi daripada parti BN. Yang kedua, DR Sam daripada parti PAS.
Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Samsuri submitted his nomination papers at 9:04 a.m, followed by General Tan Sri Raja Muhammad Afandi 4 minutes later. The Election Commission has set early voting on the 28th of November and polling day on the 2nd of December after the by-election was called following the decision by the Terengganu Elections Court on the 26th of September to nullify past candidate Cik Alias Hamid's victory in the 15th general election. Meanwhile, the Election Commission has set up 5 campaign enforcement teams to monitor the activities of candidates in the Kemaman parliamentary by-election. Now, EC Chairman Tan Sri Abdul Ghani Saleh reminded the candidates that campaign methods and materials should not be malicious or inflame feelings of dissatisfaction and animosity, and should not touch on sensitive issues including race, religion and royalty. In a statement, Tan Sri Abdul Ghani said candidates should also abide by local authority bylaws regarding the display and distribution of campaign materials containing their photographs, symbols and photographs of leaders of their parties or component parties. He added there is no limit on photographs for contesting parties and photographs of leaders of component political parties or coalitions in election campaign materials. Now, after today's announcement of candidates for the by-election, the campaign is now on and will end at 11:59 p.m. on the 1st of December. A total of 141,790 people are eligible to vote in the by-election, including 387 police personnel, 9 military personnel and 12 overseas absent voters. The flood situation in Kedah has fully recovered as the last 2 relief centres housing a total of 26 victims from 5 families in 2 districts were closed this afternoon. Now, in a statement today, Kedah Malaysian Civil Defence Force or APM Disaster Management Secretariat Chief Major PA Muhammad Suhaimi Muhammad Zain said the 2 relief centres were in Kota Star and Kubang Pasu. In Kota Star, he said the SKTT Gajah Relief Centre, which opened on Tuesday, was shut down at 10 a.m, while in Kubang Pasu, the SK Malau Relief Centre, which began operating on Monday, was closed at 1 p.m. Muhammad Suhaimi said all the victims had been allowed to return to their respective homes after the flood receded following good weather. Now, the Malaysian Meteorological Department, or Met Malaysia, has issued a severe level continuous heavy rain warning for Terengganu and Kelantan until Monday. Now, it said the rain warning is issued when there are signs that continuous heavy rain is expected to occur with rain amount exceeding 60 millimetres within 6 hours. According to a statement posted by Met Malaysia on its Facebook page today, the situation is expected to occur statewide in Terengganu, as well as at several areas in Kelantan, namely Tumpat, Pasir Mas, Kota Baru, Jeli, Tanah Merah, Bachok, Machang, Pasir Putih and Kuala Krai from today. Now, Met Malaysia informed that an alert level continuous rain is also expected in several areas in Kelantan, Kedah, Perak, Pahang and Sabah during the same period. In Kelantan, this is expected to occur in Gua Musang, while in Kedah, Langkawi, Kubang Pasu, Kota Star, Pokok Sena, Padang Terap, Yan, Pendang, Kuala Muda, Sik and Baling will be affected. The same situation is also expected to occur in Perak, involving Hulu Perak and Kuala Kangsar, as well as Jerantut, Maran, Kuantan, Pekan and Rompin in Pahang. The warning also applies to Ranau, Kota Belud, Telupit, Kinabatangan, Beluran, Sandakan and Kudat in Sabah. BlackBerry and Malaysian government signed a cyber security deal. The Ministry of Domestic Trade and Cost of Living, or KPDN, is studying the possibility of subsidized cooking oil packets being sold by certain parties as used cooking oil, causing supply disruption in the market. Now, Deputy Minister Fuzia Saleh said there is room for irregularities when subsidized cooking oil packets are now sold at a price of RM2.50 per kilogram, while the price of used cooking oil can reach up to RM3.80 per kilogram. Met by reporters today, Fuzia said the government allocates a total of 60,000 metric tons of subsidized cooking oil every month, and it should be enough to cover the needs of 5.8 million households comprising the B40 group and some of the M40 group. She was asked to comment on the leakage related to subsidized cooking oil following the ministry's proposal to increase the price of the item. Now, Fuzia said that thus far, no complaints have been received by the ministry regarding subsidized cooking oil packets being sold as used cooking oil. She added the proposal to raise the price of the product is part of a measure to target the subsidies for the needy, in addition to ensuring that it is not easily sold as used cooking oil. The ministry is also conducting an audit on the entire production and supply chain of subsidized cooking oil nationwide to detect any leakage. Now, the audit is related to various matters, including issues of integrity related to the cooking oil supply chain. Now, Bursa Malaysia's barometer index is set to test the 1,480 level next week, riding on bullish year-end seasonalities and global equities strength. Now, Inter-Pacific Asset Management Berhad Chief Economist and Fund Manager Dr. Nazri Khan said the expectation of a pause in the interest rate hike due to the cooling US inflation data is also expected to continue boosting risk appetite for stocks. Dr. Nazri said the more benign inflation readings will fuel speculations that central banks, including the US Federal Reserve or the Fed, the European Central Bank and the Bank of England have finished raising rates. Now, on Wednesday, Bursa Malaysia rose to more than an 8-month high after US October inflation unexpectedly slowed to 3.2% compared to an estimated of 3.3%, boosting bets that the Fed is already done with its rate hike cycle. Now, the market, however, failed to sustain its rally as profit-taking emerged on Thursday. The key index managed to hold above the 1,450 psychological level at the day's close. Bursa Malaysia ended the shortened trading week with a lower weekly turnover of 13.78 billion units, valued at 7.93 billion ringgit versus 17 billion units valued at 10.04 billion ringgit in the preceding week. Now, the ringgit is expected to trade in a tight range at 4 ringgit 67 cent to 4 ringgit 68 cent against the US dollar next week as traders seek fresh leads for market direction. Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad Chief Economist Dr. Muhammad Afzanizam Abdul Rashid said the ringgit is expected to remain in a narrow range in the near term on uncertainties over the US rates. Dr. Muhammad Afzanizam said market chatter over possible interest rate cuts in the United States may gain momentum this month. He explained that it all started with the US non-farm payroll, which came in lower than expected, followed by the country's inflation rate, which decelerated to 3.2% in October after sustaining at 3.7% in the past 2 months. He said the question now is when the US Federal Reserve or the Fed will cut the rate and how steep the reduction is going to be. Now, the focus next week will be on the US Federal Open Market Committee minutes as market participants would want to gain more insights on the latest Fed decision. On a Friday to Friday basis, the ringgit appreciated against the US dollar from a week earlier, but depreciated against major currencies. It decreased against the euro, slipped versus the Japanese yen, and weakened vis-a-vis the British pound. The ringgit was also traded mostly lower against its ASEAN peers. Canada's BlackBerry Limited signed a long-term software and services agreement with the Malaysian government to strengthen the country's cybersecurity posture. Now, BlackBerry said the landmark deal will enable the Malaysian government to leverage the full suite of its trusted cybersecurity solutions and support the integrity of the Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission (MCMC) while upskilling the nation's workforce with advanced cybersecurity technology and training. The Canadian software company said the Malaysian public sector will benefit from secure, reliable, real-time access to BlackBerry software and services hosted in a sovereign cloud. Now, BlackBerry also announced that it will establish a world-class cybersecurity center of excellence in Kuala Lumpur in 2024, which will offer specialized training to advance Malaysian cybersecurity capacity and readiness. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said Malaysia is pleased to collaborate with BlackBerry to support the country's goal to be a leading example of cyber resilience. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, meanwhile, said cybersecurity is a shared challenge that requires international cooperation, which is why he strongly supports BlackBerry's Cybersecurity Centre of Excellence in Malaysia. Malaysia, Brunei, Indonesia call for immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Malaysia, Brunei and Indonesia call for an immediate, durable and sustained humanitarian truce leading to a cessation of hostilities in the Gaza Strip. Now, in a joint statement, the three member economies also welcomed the 2023 APEC Economic Leaders Golden Gate Declaration that reflects consensus on all economic issues of common concern. However, given that the chair issued a separate chair statement on aggression in Ukraine, Malaysia, Brunei and Indonesia decided they would do the same with regards to Gaza. The three countries noted with grave concern the immense human suffering and the adverse impact of wars and conflicts around the world. The countries also underscored the need for an immediate, continuous, sufficient and unhindered provision of essential goods and services to civilians throughout the Gaza Strip. Now, the statement also reaffirmed that a just and lasting solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict can only be achieved by peaceful means based on the relevant United Nations resolutions in accordance with international law on the basis of the two-state solution based on the pre-1967 borders with East Jerusalem as the capital of Palestine. The Palestinian Red Crescent said overnight that 5 people were killed and 2 hurt in a strike on a building in the West Bank's Balata refugee camp. Now, the camp's administration said an aerial strike targeted the local headquarters of the Palestinian group Fatah in the camp in Nablus. Witnesses said the strike appeared to have come from a drone, though there was no immediate confirmation. Some 24,000 people lived in the Balata refugee camp in the northern West Bank and suspected several Palestinian armed groups operating inside. The strike came a day after Israel's army said it had killed at least 7 fighters in 2 separate confrontations in the West Bank. Now, violence has surged in West Bank since Israel began its military operation in Gaza in response to the 7th of October Hamas incursion. Now, more than 12,000 people, mostly civilians, have been killed in Gaza, according to Hamas-run authorities. There have been growing concerns about violence in the West Bank, including attacks on Palestinians by settlers. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken this week urged Israel to act to confront the rising levels of settler extremist violence. The first plane carrying 15 Palestinians, including children and their families, arrived in the United Arab Emirates, or UAE, as part of the country's initiative to provide medical treatment for 1,000 children accompanied by their families from the Gaza Strip. Now, according to the Emirates news agency, the plane landed at Abu Dhabi International Airport from Egypt's Al Arish International Airport, carrying children in the most urgent need of medical assistance. Now, these included those suffering from severe injuries and burns, as well as cancer patients requiring extensive treatment. Officials emphasized that all UAE's hospitals are prepared to receive the remaining children and their families to provide them with comprehensive care as well as specialized services in accordance with international standards and ensure that they are fully recovered prior to their safe return. UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan issued a directive to allocate a humanitarian aid package of $20 million and ordered the establishment of an integrated field hospital within the Gaza Strip as part of the Gallant Night 3 operation. Now, the initiative to bring Gaza's children to get medical treatment in UAE was also directed by Sheikh Mohammed. The UAE has dispatched 51 planes carrying 1,400 tons of food, medical and relief supplies to support relief efforts in the Gaza Strip. Now, this aid is coordinated with international organizations such as the United Nations World Food Programme.
Misi mesti menang. Semangat perjuangan terus diledakkan dalam setiap pertembungan. 14 pasukan, satu sorakan. Liga Super 2023 bersama kami di RTM, rakan penyiar NFL Liga Malaysia 2023.
Welcome back. Charles Leclerc of Ferrari took pole position for the inaugural Formula One Las Vegas Grand Prix on Saturday. Leclerc clocked the fastest time of 1 minute 32.726 seconds to beat Sainz by 0.044 seconds. Now, champion Max Verstappen of Red Bull was third, 0.378 seconds off the pace. Ocon. Let's take a look at tennis. Carlos Alcaraz set up an ATP Finals last four showdown with Novak Djokovic after beating Daniil Medvedev 6-4, 6-4 and topping the red group. Now, world number 2 Alcaraz needed to win to ensure a spot in the last four on his debut appearance at the season-ending tournament. And he did just that in impressive fashion, cruising to a straight sets victory, which ensured him first place ahead of Medvedev. Alcaraz also gained a small measure of revenge for defeat in the US Open semi-finals against Medvedev, who finished second in the group after having already qualified for the semis on Wednesday. Now, Alcaraz came into the finals struggling with form and injury, but has warmed up as the tournament has progressed, and his semi-final with Djokovic promises to be a blockbuster. Djokovic, who has already secured the year-end top spot in the world rankings, is gunning for a record-breaking 7th finals triumph after qualifying second in the green group. And that's it from us this evening. In our top story, 63.02 billion ringgit worth of investments secured in US trade mission. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. I'm Jessica Lee. Thank you for joining us.